Have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to influence somebody and it's just totally failed? Maybe you had an airtight rationale for what to do and the other person just didn't get on board. Or worse yet, you found yourself arguing with them and they were getting frustrated and you were getting frustrated and you damaged the relationship. What do you do in those situations? How can you find a better path forward than that one? Well, our spark for today comes from Benjamin Franklin, who said these memorable words hundreds of years ago. He said, "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." Now, in other words, what that means is if you are beating somebody over the head with your argument, if you're forcing them into agreeing with you and telling you, yeah, you're right, you may have won the argument, but you really lost the chance to influence that person. It's not about forcing somebody to agree with you or having the better argument. It's about changing their hearts and minds at a fundamental level. So how do you do that? How do you really convince a person without going against their will? Well, a couple things. First of all, don't start in with your argument, again, beating down the door. Start by asking some questions to understand where they're coming from and what they believe and why they believe it. Not only will that help you have a better basis for making your arguments as you understand where they're coming from, but you make them feel respected and heard in the process. And secondly, as you ask those questions and listen to them, give them a chance to influence you. Acknowledge the things that they say that make a lot of sense. Maybe you even learn something from them in the process. If you do these things, if you ask good questions, if you listen well, if you engage well, you bring the person into the conversation with you. And now it's not me versus you in the conversation. It's us together trying to sort this issue out. When you enlist other people's help and engage them in a gracious way, you're not convincing people against their will. You're getting them on board with your process in a much more natural way. So this is my challenge for you today. If you've got somebody you need to influence, if it's a direct report that's underperforming, if it's a colleague that you need to get on board, instead of launching in with your explanation for why it's going to work, start by asking some good questions, understanding their perspective, acknowledging the points they make that are great, and trying together to come up with a solution. If you do that, you're going to be much more successful at influencing them, and you're going to build your relationship more over the long haul.